Things that you'll notice when you look at the Android fanbots making constant ridiculous comments and just saying stupid things is they all seem to be pulling numbers for how much it costs Apple to create each phone out of their ass. They just pull these numbers out of thin air. They pull them out of their ass. And I've heard numbers as low as 200. I've heard 300, 198. I mean, I've heard some stupid numbers, some of which I've quoted on some of the videos I've made. Now, on this, on this website by Rob Thurbron, this guy did this article, if you want to call it that, and it says $1,249 iPhone XS Max costs Apple $443 to make. Now, it's extremely disingenuous. One of the best comments that I've already read is right here. And this is a brilliant comment, and that's why 6 people actually liked it. And it says, this is a perfect comment. It says, while I'm sure the profit margins are huge, there is no way to get a real accurate cost assessment, as no one outside of Apple knows how much money was spent in R&D for all of the proprietary hardware and software in the device, most notably the brand new A12 chip, which I can attest handles 4K 60 frame per second video way better than the A11 chip. It says costing it at $443 is actually a bit disingenuous, as the specific amounts lead many to believe that this is a very accurate number, whereas $450 would seem like more of an estimate than it really is. Apple can charge what they please, since there really isn't any competition other than Samsung, which is about the same price as well. Now, let's go through his actual article. I'll link this article so you can read it, but it's a bunch of bullshit. This channel TechSpot, they're your typical clickbait journalists, and they throw up like, basically they throw up articles. A lot of it is like copy-pasted shit that they've read somewhere else. Sometimes they do decent tests on video cards, but for the most part, they do whatever they can to keep you clicking on their channel. Which, that's what journalism basically is. I've been on this site for a long time, and it's bullshit. And they know it, I know it. It's clickbait. I mean, you've got a bunch of people basically saying the exact same thing, and the only thing that separates them is that they figure, okay, well, we'll put together a test bench and we'll do our own tests. Meanwhile, Linus Tech Tips does the same shit, and there's also a bunch of guys on YouTube who do the exact same thing. And what they do is they look at each other's reviews and then they copy-paste each other. But because of the fact that these people are separated so far, it's really hard to pin them down and say that's what you're doing. Whatever. Now, as you know, for me, it's like, I don't have to copy-paste because I have taken the laziest route I could possibly take. Here I am. I'm holding up my fucking phone and recording what I'm seeing on the screen. I didn't even bother using my Alienware screenshot thing with Windows 10. I'm not even going to bother. So anyway, it says, while it does boast an impressively large 6.5-inch screen, Apple's new iPhone XS Max also comes with an equally imposing price tag. Why is it that everybody keeps complaining about the price? If you can't fucking afford it, then don't buy it. Why is it? It's amazing. That just tells you right there how full of shit these people are. If you're going to complain about the price, that's not telling me the quality of the gadget. That's not telling me anything about how well it's put together, build quality. It's not telling me anything. All you're saying is it's expensive. That's like if I'm making less than $30,000 a year and I'm complaining as a reviewer about how much a Lamborghini costs. I mean, that's fucking stupid. It's like, that's not a complaint. The people who this is for ain't worried about it. So anyway, the 256 version costs $1,249. Now, my iPhone X was $1,149, I believe, and with tax, I think it came out to like $1,250, but I didn't actually pay that. The iPhone X that I bought, I only paid $970 for. So anyway, and it was unlocked, by the way. But how much does this company spend on parts and assembly? It says, according to a new analysis. So this shit isn't even factual because Apple itself never actually listed a number. But anyway, Apple unveiled 3 phones. The iPhone XS, XS Max will start around $999, $1099, blah, blah, blah. And it says, it goes without saying that this bill of materials estimate does not take into consideration the massive R&D expenditures. So they good. They at least say it themselves. So here's the thing. If you're going to just throw up a number and you're not going to talk about how much research and development that they actually put into each piece, then your number is bullshit. I mean, 443, that's ridiculous. There's no way that this thing cost 443. It couldn't have. Now, every single part on this thing is nothing like every single part on the last phone. They had to test this case. This is like a stainless steel band now. It's not even aluminum anymore. They had to test all this shit. Who did they pay to test it? I damn sure know that it came out to more than 443 to do the research and development and then to build each one of these things. I would say maybe more like $600 or $700, possibly even $800. Now, if you told me Apple was making $300 or $400 profit on this, I'd believe it. But the thing about it is I really don't think their profit margin is that wide. It could be that wide, but I really don't think so. And until Apple tells you, it's not a fact. So you're just pulling numbers out of your ass. It says Tech Insights did a similar analysis on the now discontinued iPhone X last year and estimated it cost Apple around $357.50 per unit, as was the case with the iPhone X. The iPhone XS Max most expensive component is the OLED display, which costs $80.50. So they've valued that one part at $80.50. And the iPhone X has a 5.8-inch screen that costs $77.27. Like, I don't know where they're getting these numbers. But the problem that I have with research like this, where you just have somebody who does a quote-unquote analysis, is the fact that it puts out a lot of false information. It really does put out a lot of false information. Then you get these dumbass fanboys who are doing anything they can to scream and talk how great Android phones are. And the sad thing is they take this shit to heart and they say, oh yeah, well, I can quote it. I said it was 443 and I can quote it back to TechSpot. Now, they also had this little article right here. The iPhone XS Max is outselling the iPhone XS. And I can tell you right now, when I went and got my iPhone 6 Plus, I had to camp out online because the Chinese buyers had that line packed. And then at about 5 o'clock in the morning, because I camped out from 11 p.m. to opening till 10. So I was out there all night to get this damn phone. And once I got this thing, it was like, I couldn't believe like how cool it was that I was actually able to get it. But these people had camped out. They were buying 2 and 3 and 4 phones. It was crazy. They had their sister, their brother, their cousin. They called these people to show up there, and then they all bum rushed the line at 5 o'clock. What they did was they bought a lot of these phones. They shipped a lot of them back to China, and China impounded most of these phones that came there. You can look that up because that's actually a fact. And they impounded a lot of those phones, and they apparently it was a violation of their tariff or trade agreement or whatever they had going at the time. But it doesn't surprise me that the absolute largest phones outsold. Now, everybody was talking so much shit about the cost. Everybody, oh man, this thing is $1,600 with tax, and oh, it cost for $1,449. So they were talking all this shit, and guess what? Every single one of them motherfuckers sold out. And they didn't just sell out to Americans. A lot of them sold out to foreign travelers who came to America, who happened to be in America, got online and bought one. See, the sad thing is there's so many of these Asian, Indian, Bangladeshi fanboys, and you see their names pop up. Like when I watch who's making these stupid fucking comments, it's always one of them. And they're making these comments about, oh yeah, well, it doesn't have this, that, and the other. And they're talking about the Oppo Find X, and they're talking about all this nonsense like the Huawei 3i and all this. And you're like, wait a minute, what the hell are you talking about? If I wanted an Android phone, I'd buy one. But these guys are flooding our channels with bullshit. And the sad thing about it is they're complaining about the fact that me, in America, I have the ability to spend $1,600 to buy a cell phone. So somebody's mortgage I spent on a cell phone. Somebody's car note plus insurance plus gas for a month I spent on a cell phone. Somebody's wedding ring I spent on a cell phone. And they're complaining about it. It's like, guys, stop living out of other grown men's pockets. You guys are silly. So you know what I want to do? Let's read some comments. Let's read a couple of comments. Let's see what the latest the Android fanboys have for me. Because I swear to God, I don't even delete their comments because I'm having so much fun. I'm having so much fun reading them. Okay, so this is one of the newer videos I made. 929 views, 60 comments, 42 thumbs up, and I think it's like half down, half up. Let's read a couple. Let's pick the top 10. Oh, Samsung is much more creative and innovative than Apple, but Apple already has their brand established, so Americans will buy Apple no matter what. Now, I already replied to him. No, they aren't. They just rush shit to the market to try to get ahead of Apple's releases. That's what I said to him. Loser. You know, it's funny. I actually prefer recording with my iPhone instead of doing the screen capture because my iPhone has a way better mic. And on top of that, it's easy for me to zoom into things just by moving my hand. I like doing that. So, let's see. I had it. Now, nobody uses proper punctuation. I had an iPhone, most unreliable phone I've ever had. No apostrophe, no comma, no ellipsis, no hyphen, none of that. Crazy how iPhone owners try to trash Androids at every given chance. Sounds like compensation issues to me. Yeah, it kind of sounds like the compensation issues where you have a bunch of Android people flooding every single iPhone review and leaving negative comments. Meanwhile, if you go to the typical Android phone review, there's no Apple people wasting their time leaving comments on these phones that they don't give a fuck about. They brag about camera quality. Yep, pretty much just like I'm doing right now. I'm recording in 4K 60 frames per second, and I'll probably upload to YouTube at about 1080p. But don't even look up camera specs to see that most premier Androids have equal or better cameras. What you ain't got is iMovie. What some of these cheap-ass phone cameras got is them cheap-ass Chinese-made plastic glass wannabe non-Carl Zeiss, non-quality lenses. No thank you. You get more options on phones without being forced to spend $800. Actually, I spent twice that. I spent $1,600. Another reason I dislike the iPhone is because of how insecure and irritating its supporters are. So what this guy did was he came to my channel to say that shit. So I guess he's talking about me, obviously. A little moron. So anyway, yeah, I've already given him a thumbs down. I wish I could give him more thumbs down, but you know, you can't. Oh, remember when they now this comment came in a little while ago. Oh, remember when they would say we can take our battery out and replace it with a better one? Now, the Android users can't switch the battery anymore. Apple does it. Android tries to be different. It does not work out before you know it. Android is doing the exact same thing Apple is doing. And then you hear crickets from the Android users. And I said it here. I already replied to them. Apple had it right all along. Easier to make sealed devices water resistant. Easier to make a water resistant phone and have a larger battery by eliminating the headphone jack. Easier to open up space inside by dropping the home button. As much as I am disappointed by losing the home button, the simple fact is the home button took up a large amount of space inside that they would rather use for either the screen or the battery. And that's just where we are. So, I mean, I can get away with not having a home button. It's just that I had gotten so used to the Touch ID sensor and not having to scan my face, not having to lift up my glasses, not having to hold the phone at an angle to see my face. I had gotten used to it. Now, I will give the Android phones, in most cases, I will give them the fact that most of them have a Face ID of some type, and they also have a touch sensor on the back. However, from the reviews that I've read, the face scanner is not as accurate as Apple's by far, and in some cases the fingerprint scanner isn't either. So if they think that the Android phones, and these are the Android reviewers, the people online, if they say that these things aren't as secure as Apple, I have to take their word for it. Aside from that 7nm A11 processor, what makes iPhone XS have great battery and speed, which is wrong because it's not an A11, it's an A12, anyway, is more generic than any other company. Just make incredibly advanced tech just to unlock your phone, but hey, whatever, in a couple of months, everyone will have 7nm processor. I barely even know what this guy wrote because he's got no commas and he doesn't even have a fucking period at the end. It's like, I'm just going to downvote that idiot. You please learn how to fucking criticize, please. Big Truck Series at 122, when you talk about quote-unquote professional car reviewers, is the guy I'm talking about one of them? Yeah, the answer was yes. iPhones don't do well in India, and Apple in general, in case someone is wondering. Yeah, the reason why they don't do well in India is because the vast majority of the population of India is poor. There's 1.3 plus billion people in India, and there's also 1.3 plus billion people in China. Now, the sad fact is only like the top 400 million are living what we would consider middle-class lives. The rest of them are fucking poor. And when I say poor, I'm not talking about, oh no, I can't afford the brand new iPhone XR poor. No. I'm talking about I may have to sell my booty in order to get some food for this next couple of hours poor. And, you know, we're trying to do what we can to solve world hunger and poverty and everything. And, you know, hopefully some of the money that I'm spending on Apple phones in some way is used as charity or something to help those people. But the simple fact of the matter is, it's like, you know, they're over there and I'm over here. So anyway, let's get past these fucking ads. Okay, so let's see what's new. New comments. Let's get them. I have the 45 gigabyte iPhone X Max, $45 a month. Okay, there's something seriously wrong with your comment. Mopar or no car, iOS or no operating system. Good job. That's right. Okay. He just put a thumbs down. Well, I'll give you a thumbs down, you idiot. Okay. 7+ hours for XS Max. 4+ hours for Note 9. Okay. Yeah, so he's trying to link us to a test that was done. Okay. Can you please stop calling the phone the XS and XS Max and call it the 10S and 10S Max? No! You know why? Because this phone is excessive. This is the iPhone excessive. That's what it is. In fact, I even told him, this is what I told him. I said, can you please shut the fuck up? And then he came right back. Big Truck Series Motorsports, you ramble on and on about the phone calling it the wrong name. And no, I'm not a Samsung fanboy or Android user. I have 3 iOS devices that I carry daily. Down vote, definitely. Stupid jerk off. Okay. You Apple guys kill me. Apple buys screens from Android. No, it does not. Android is an operating system, you moron. You mean they buy screens from Samsung. Whatever. Fuck a speed test. Now he's throwing out scientific evidence. He just said, fuck that scientific evidence. All the new features iPhones get, other phones had it 5 years ago. Y'all just so hype to get what's new from Apple. Downvote. When she loses. I think this XS Max is looked down on. This phone has been great, and that's coming from an 8+. The thing that gets me is how people just hate Apple because of its success. You can pretty much say the same thing about any company. The phone was $300 more than my last one, and I didn't think I'd ever want to spend this much, but I did and don't regret any of it. This has been my favorite iPhone ever. There you go. Now, see, that's how to make a good, concise comment. There you go. I wonder why Mr. Boss didn't use any Huawei phone for battery comparisons. Because it's shitty. That's why. A fucking piece of shit. It says, because Huawei are cheap trash. So I already gave him a reply. It says, Big Truck Series. So is the OnePlus. If anything, Huawei is on a higher level than OnePlus and is known for having the best battery out of any Android phone. I'm still not convinced about the camera on the XS. Excuse me. The XS Max camera is the best on the market. Okay, there you go. The best. When I say the best, I mean it ain't jittery like the Galaxy Note X9 or whatever the fuck they call it, the Note 9. It's not as jittery as their shitty-ass optical image stabilizer, which is not as good. And the link to the video review that I pointed you to, he actually showed the phone side by side, and he showed you that that's true. So anyway, all batteries die. Samsung, 2 years. You can just buy a new one. Apple, your Saul. I don't know if this is English. I just don't know. That guy did the review looks like an Apple fanboy who takes it up the ass by his wife who's wearing a strap-on. Somebody gave him a +1. Wow, that's some comment, huh? Wow. If you watch the video of the battery test, it's a little unfair for the Note 9. Listen, just because it lost doesn't mean that it's unfair. It means that it's, number one, it's older because the Note 9's been on the market for longer than the iPhone, for one. And then number two, it's not as well optimized. Shit, I'm not even going to bother reading the rest of that bullshit. Okay. Honestly, if Apple integrates split screen multitasking to iOS, I would consider leaving Samsung. And this is where I will agree. I have to say that it is a bit annoying that Apple, what they do is basically they get around the fact that they're not putting 8 and 10 gigabytes of RAM in these things by making it so that the phone concentrates on one app at a time. And that is basically the elimination of multitasking. Now, their idea of multitasking is you're watching the internet on Safari and you're playing music in the background. My idea of multitasking is I'm on iMovie finalizing a video using the internet, possibly talking on the phone, or listening to a YouTube video while I'm finalizing on iMovie. The problem is the entire processor is put to task on one thing. So ultimately, the reason why these Galaxy phones have so much memory is because of the multitasking. So the thing about it is, guess what? When you add more memory, you're using more power. Using more power makes it so that you have less battery life. Using a bigger screen with QHD and this, that, and other also takes away your battery life. So it's no surprise to me that the iPhone XS Max kicked the Galaxy Note 9's ass. And that phone has a 4,000 milliamp battery and the iPhone still beat it with less milliamp hours. So that's no surprise to me. But my thing is, that's just what it is. So you're going to have to just grin and bear it. That's just what it is. There's nothing you could say about it. That's just what it is. That was a test. Every test after test has shown that Apple basically said, nah, we're going to make it so that this phone runs smooth and cool on one task. It's not going to do massive multitasking. We're going to use less RAM. And by using less RAM, we're going to have better battery efficiency because you don't have to use as much electricity. Now, I'll give it to you. Listen, you Android people, I'm pretty sure there's an Android phone because I saw, what was it, the Oppo Find X or something like that. One of those phones had a 25 megapixel camera, and its image quality was no better than the Apple XS Max. Some of these phones have 8 gigabytes plus of memory. The thing about it is it runs your battery out quicker. Now, yeah, you can multitask for days. Thing about it is, it's a competing ideology. Apple says, no, we want to do one thing really, really well. And Android phones say, okay, we're going to make using the phone like using a Windows desktop, and that's just what it is. So it's like, listen, if I wanted an Android, as you can see, I'm holding in my hand a $1,600 iPhone. If I wanted an Android, I'm pretty sure there's no Android on the entire market that I couldn't have gone and bought. But no, I took $1,600 and I got an iPhone XS Max. And that's just what it is. That's just what it is. It says most reviews gave iPhone 2 thumbs down. Yeah, just like I'm doing in your comment, you moron. So anyway, and that's not most reviews. Most reviews I heard and read and watched, they gave it top scores. Because as far as they're concerned, this is the best iPhone ever made, for one. Second of all, iPhone really doesn't have any competition. The Android market is all fighting against each other. You can't run iOS, and that's the bottom line. You can't run iOS. And because you can't run iOS, I don't even see the validity in most of these comparisons. Because if you're going to compare iOS to Android, that's really like comparing an apple to an orange. It's two totally different things that work two totally different ways. It's like comparing Xbox to PS4. Yeah, they can run the same games, but ultimately they have exclusives, and for the most part, the exclusives are what set them apart. Now, could you run Titanfall on PS? Yeah, sure you could. Could you run Halo on PS? Sure you could. Could you run The Last of Us on Xbox? Sure you could. But that's not allowed. iOS is iOS. iOS is on iPhone. Android will never be us. Ever. And Apple has made it so that these pieces of shit, like, what is it, Huawei? What is that, Huawei Nova 3i? Oh, yeah. You guys can. Now, you remember how they talked all that shit Oh man, look at that notch in the iPhone X. You can't even use those pixels. How can they say the screen is a certain size and you can't even use those pixels? Remember how they talked all that shit? So could somebody, I need one of you Android people. In fact, I want to hear from you. Could one of you please tell me why this cheap Chinese clone ass phone has the same notch as the iPhone X? Number one, trying to look like iPhone X. It even has the same goddamn design for the Wi-Fi and the battery. Could one of you hacks please explain to me, why does this piece of trash look anything like my last iPhone X? Why? Because you told me that this notch is terrible. Why do you have this notch? You know why? Because when I look out in the distance and I'm in a crowd, I can see who has an iPhone X from many feet away. And you bastards, you copycats, are trying to be like us by putting a notch on your fucking piece of shit phone. And then look at the back. What did they do? It's not enough for the front of this piece of shit to look like an iPhone. Oh, we got to make the back look like an iPhone too. That's what you're doing. You're ripping us off. You're copyright infringement. Who's copying who now? So, now that I got that out of my system, there's also the Oppo Find X, that piece of trash. So this is what we got to deal with. Now, in fairness, the Oppo Find X has a motorized camera that pops out of the back because apparently they were, if Apple won't give you a full screen and a full beautiful screen. And what we're going to do is all that Android button shit, we're going to get rid of all that. We're going to make our phones iOS. We're going to make it look just like iOS, number one. And then we're going to give you a camera that motorized pops out of the back of the phone. So, yeah, obviously they copied as much off of Apple's front face design. You know, it's a damn shame. If Apple made a phone that looked like a starfish, these motherfuckers will go out there and start making starfish phones. It's a damn shame. It's not fair. It's cheating. It's copyright infringement. Look at Oppo's website. Look at this. When I see this, this nearly made me puke. This is their website. They copied everything they could. Apple's entire style, copied the whole damn website. Look at that. If you weren't careful, you would assume that this was the new iPhone. Oppo. You know what Oppo said? Who the fuck named something Oppo? This SpongeBob SquarePants characters that don't have stupid names like that. But you know why? It's because when the Asians speak, that's how it sounds. Oh, you want Apple? Apple? Oppo? Oppo, you want Apple phone? We have Oppo phone. Oppo phone, $5. Oppo phone, $5. That's copyright infringement. And I hope to God Steve Jobs and Tim Cook sue the hell out of these people. That is copyright infringement. I don't care what you say. That is look at this. Same specs. We're gonna How big is that iPhone XS Max gonna be? Oh, it's gonna be 6.4 inches. Oh well, we gotta make our 6.4 inches. We gotta do it quick. This is copyright infringement. There's no other word for it. No other term for it. Copyright infringement. That's what even the bands. I mean, for God's sakes, they copied everything. Look at the two volume buttons. I've seen Android phones where the volume button and the sleep wake is on one side. Look what they did. Oh, Apple has its buttons like that? Oh, well, we got to have our buttons like that. If Apple was to take this phone and make two very small round buttons, 1 and 2, if they were to do that, then guess what the Oppo phone would have? It would have 2 round buttons. This cheap rip-off, copy-pasted shit. Cheap rip-off. Now, I will give it to them that the stealth camera that slides up, okay, that's kind of cool. My problem is I don't trust anything motorized in a damn phone. I don't trust that shit at all. Because my only question is, they say the durability structure is 300,000 times. I don't trust that shit at all. I really don't. I really don't. So they have a slide-up camera. I don't trust that at all. I just don't. So, yeah, I guess I've gotten most of the energy. Look at this. Look at this. Where have you seen this before? Where have you... Flood illuminator, infrared camera, ranging sensor, receiver, front camera, dot projector. Gee, where have I seen that before? Let's see. I think if I go to FaceTime camera, gee, because I know this looks familiar. This looks so Oh, it's not called FaceTime. It's called Face ID. My fault. Face ID camera. Huh, where have I seen this before? Infrared camera, flood illuminator, proximity sensor, ambient light, speaker, microphone, front camera, dot project. Wait a minute. This looks familiar. Copyright infringement. That's what Android phones are.